Good morning. So today in class, you're going to play around with watercolor. We want to do this, because we play the video. We want to do this before you work on the background of your self-portrait. So you're going to get a skinny piece of paper, it's a leftover bit from your good drawing, and you're going to divide it up into 6 parts with a really thin piece of masking tape. You're going to label each section using a thin Sharpie. You want wet on wet, wet on dry, wash/value, bleeding, salt technique, and paper towel lift. And then go ahead and put your Sharpie away. You're going to start from the left, work your way to the right with each heading. So wet on wet, oftentimes I will add water to the paper first and really wet paint and let that kind of flow with the water. You can also add more water to it. Wet on dry is the opposite. You're using very little water on your brush. I'm even dabbing away some extra water in the lid. And this would be used if you want kind of a sharp edge, perfect edges. You can see here that some paper is still showing through. You can try and lay on top, and the colors aren't mixing together very well, like they won't run as they did on wet on wet. We're actually going to come back to this section. A wash is when you add water, just water, to a little bit of color and let it run until it's very light, very translucent. With bleeding, again, you're using 2 very wet colors, at least 2, you could do more than 2. But the idea is when they go very close to each other, one will run into the other, or bleeding. Okay? It's a really fun technique for bigger areas that you want to have a little fun. Not great for tiny details, because you really don't have that much control. The salt technique is fun if you want to try and have the illusion of snow or snowflakes or stars. Have a really dark color, works best, I think. Sprinkle a little salt and wait for the next day to see what happens. The salt is actually going to absorb some of the color and leave some white. Paper towel lift is good, actually, if you make a mistake. This is a great way to try and lift up the color as fast as you can, or even just to have that nice technique as well. Now we're going to go back to the wet on dry. If you were doing a watercolor picture and you had some details you wanted to add, oftentimes I'll watercolor a wash and under, let it dry overnight, and then come back to get those sharp edges. As you can see, I didn't let mine dry well enough, so it still bled a little tiny bit. But it's a good thing to do. You can do a bit of watercolor one day and then come back the second. So you're going to let this dry with the masking tape still there. You'll remove that the next day. So you're going to go ahead and try this on your own. Have fun. See what you do.